Hey everyone, welcome to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. So today we've got the moon still in Ophiuchus, still a watery day as it was yesterday, but things certainly transforming. We've got the moon going into Sagittarius for the second half of the day, which does suggest that there is this deeper side going into the more expansive side. It's a part of the sky that has to do with transformation and change, so we'll probably be feeling that emotionally, or there could be a theme of the day associated with that. Mercury sextiling up to Neptune still from yesterday does suggest there can be a bit of flow with the routine, or listening to our intuition, or maybe some really good imagination or insight still coming in maybe from yesterday. And as we go into tomorrow, Venus will be conjoining Chiron, so on a weekly sense, there is some healing taking place with our perspective on relationships, perhaps. Or maybe, if it's not interpersonal like that, maybe it's about our sense of self-worth, right? Feeling like, yes, we can cultivate the things that we truly value in life. So we'll feel that shifting as well. So we'll go ahead and look at this in more detail when we return. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this moon in Ophiuchus. Yes, still very watery, especially with Venus and Mars in Pisces still. Very intuitive, very receptive time. With Ophiuchus, though, specifically, is if any wounds do come up today, doing that acceptance, right? The acceptance of ourselves, the acceptance of those wounds. And as a result, that can be very transformational. Again, the moon shifting into Sag going into tomorrow does suggest a more open-minded perspective. It's like the butterfly who's free and also has a top-down perspective of things. Right, so I think we'll be feeling that. I think particularly by the end of the day, probably starting to feel that Sag energy. The sun is still in Capricorn, so things are still reserved, especially with the way we're focused on things and maybe the way we're expressing ourselves. We're probably wanting a bit of structure and stability at this time, as it usually is this time of year. So that's good, right? Bringing in some more structure and stability into our life can be a really good source of prana, really good source of energy there with the sun in Capricorn. So here's the aspects, a pivotal day coming off of Mercury sextiling up to Neptune from yesterday. Again, maybe still a bit of that imaginative energy, intuitive energy, dreamy perhaps. Again, maybe some insights with this. And fundamentally too, in many ways, our routine has this opening for a bit more acceptance, a bit more beingness, a bit more of that, again, receptive quality. And as a result, as it was yesterday, yes, maybe things are flowing, or we're more receptive, we're more accepting, and as a result, we're seeing that current of life there. So that's easing as we go through the day, but still certainly within orb. And there's the Venus conjoining up to Chiron. So on that weekly sense, yes, going into tomorrow, there's certainly some healing taking place collectively with Venusian things. On one hand, it might be relationships, right? If there's maybe a particular relationship in your life, maybe it's the time of the year to do some healing with that. Again, personal healing is usually the case. It's where we feel wounded, where we may feel doubtful, insecure, something like that with Chiron. And it's very natural and very normal. And so as we accept and we embrace the fact that we may feel this way, or there may be some things that require that acceptance, it will heal us. And I think that's what's going to happen. More so going into tomorrow and the rest of the week. But if you do feel any wounds, particularly about relationships, a really good time to learn more about that. Chiron is actually a lot about learning. The more we learn about it, the more awareness we have, the more we can accept, the more we can heal. So this is also transformative, but again, the result, the rejuvenation will be likely more so tomorrow with this. If you are feeling it more in a sense of your sense of self-worth, right, that maybe you can or feel like you can't cultivate the things you truly value in life, know that you can. We can all cultivate the things we truly value in life. So it's examining that, learning more about that, getting into that sense of self-worth, accepting self, all of this. And like I said, as we go through the rest of the week, probably a transformation with that. Now, the moon is going to go over Saturn, who has been in Ophiuchus. So, there is this certainly reserved energy of the day, not only in terms of the self-expression, which was the sun, but also in terms of our emotions, maybe understanding that maybe we have been healing, in fact, a lot of these structures, and understanding that the things in life that we want to build are requiring us to go deep right now and to do the healing. And it's as we do the healing, which is Ophiuchus, it will facilitate these structures. It will facilitate these things that we want to build in our life. All right, so with the moon over Saturn, I think it certainly could be emphasizing that. Could also give a bit of emotional reserve to the day as well, which could be good for productive things and maybe starting a new chapter, in fact, about commitment, responsibility, patience, emotional mastery, in fact, can be a great way of working with that. Now, the second half, after we start to go into that Sag energy and start to feel it more than likely, the moon does square up to Mars. So maybe good to maybe take a step back if you're feeling a bit, I don't know, agitated or blocked or something like that. You know, Mars has been squaring up to Saturn, which was last week. And I think we've certainly gone through the most of that already. But today, if something comes up with that, maybe recalling what you learned last week about taking a step back or having a bit of patience, or, you know, really with Mars and Pisces, just being receptive, or at least as receptive as we possibly can. Right? And that could be twofold in terms of taking the step back, but also in terms of understanding that right now, the best way of actually getting things done is about exerting the least amount of energy possible and finding out where life is taking us, where that current is taking us, and aligning with that. Right? It's like being in the middle of the ocean. Instead of swimming in a random direction, because we don't know exactly where that is in Pisces, it's the ocean, we can feel the current and float, or use the current, you know, to move in that direction. All right, so remembering that, I think, will be important, but this is a minor note, I feel like. Maybe just more to do with the inner world, the emotions there, feeling that, you know, square up to Mars, but can certainly be constructive through, again, that receptive approach. All right, so that is the day in a nutshell, essentially a pivotal day coming off of yesterday's deeper energy with the moon in Ophiuchus, Mercury sextiling Neptune, this opening here to have that receptive approach. And as the day unfolds, more of the expansive, right? The big picture, particularly as we go into tomorrow. Still maybe doing some healing with our sense of self-worth, maybe with relationships that can be very strong. And the moon squaring up to Mars, yes, maybe taking that step back that might be needed. And all in all, remembering too, as we approach the new moon on Friday, we are entering into a more receptive time, the balsamic phase, the lowering of energy, of listening, of intuition, seeing what comes our way for the new beginnings around the corner. All right, so I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you all tomorrow.